Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to round 6 of the 2019 Newstead Brewing Hospital Challenge Cup. My name is Jay Bohr-Staunton, and this afternoon we are live from Gypsywood Oval, the home of South Rugby Club, for their clash with Bond University for what is the club's annual Ladies' Day celebration. South ran in their second victory of the season last round, while Bond will be fresh after a 2-week break over Easter and the bye week. Now remember, folks, Queensland Rugby has increased the live coverage of Queensland Premier Rugby, with all 4 matches streamed live and free via redsrugby.com.au. Now joining me in the commentary box today is Premier Rugby tragic, absolute tragic, Richard Chips Blanche. Chips, how you going, mate?
I'm good, thanks, mate. Always good to be here at Ladies' Day at South. It's a good turnout.
It is. I mean, it is a soggy Saturday afternoon, but we have got a very good crowd coming through the gates here at Gypsywood Oval. Now, Chips, you'd be hard-pressed to find anyone that's watched more footy than yourself. How have you found the QPR season thus far?
Hey, it's been interesting. I think there's been a bit of a teething period because we've had a lot of player movement, a lot of coach movement from last season, and some of the teams are still finding their feet, but I think there's a bit of consistency now in selections and whatnot as well, so the quality of the matches are picking up. And if we look at the ladder there, Brothers have been the team really to find their feet first. Yeah,
and then you can see West Jeeps and South round out that top 4, but there's obviously East End Uni and Bond nipping at their heels. Now, I've got to ask you, in regards to these two teams, how do you reckon their seasons have gone thus far?
Well, Bond have been a funny one. They played some really good footy, and they haven't got the results that maybe they thought they might have, considering how well they've been playing in patches. So they've got a lot to prove today, and Souths as well. I mean, they did well to hold out East last week, but I think they also believe that they haven't really clicked yet.
And there's been some big ins of late. Angus Blythe for Bond is coming back into the mix today, and we've seen the Teller brothers and Jaden Narmanu. Meek is out today, but Amori Wangavulungi is back in the mix. So how big are those ins for QPR footy?
Massive. And you look at the Bond pack in particular now with Angus Blythe in there, Kieran Van Breck shifting to number 6, Zach Moy at number 8. That's a big pack, and I think that will play well with the conditions today. And if you look at the South pack, well, Jacob McKellar, I think he plays his best footy at 6. He looks quite comfortable in the second row, but there's probably a little bit of a height and weight advantage there too, Bond. It'll be interesting to see what that effect that has on the game.
Well, the weather is going to definitely play a part out here at Gypsywood. It's stopped raining, but it is going to be very soggy underfoot. So without further ado, we'll get straight into the team list, and we'll start with the home side, and that is the South Magpies. So starting at loosehead prop, we've got Clint Malalua, Theo Fareed, the young Colt, and Jake Simeon. In the second row, Tom Lane and Jacob McKellar. In the back row, Josateki Murray, Brad Callaghay, and Harley Fox. In the halves, the great pairing of Scott Malalua and Jake Strawn. On the wings, as we said, the new man has actually just come in for Mika Teller, who is late scratching it as Amori Wangavulungi and Abeli Atunaisa. In the centres, we've got Teddy Teller and Ralphie Avalu. At fullback, we have Jaden Narmanu, coached by Elliot Takiri. Now on the other side of the coin, Chips, why don't you run us through the Bond side?
Yeah, so in the front row we've got Patello and Slipper there, building a good combination, and Nick Turner club stalled as well. We spoke about Angus Blythe coming back in, but for mine the key players are in the back row there, Kieran Van Breck, Connor Pritchard and Zaki Moy. They'll go a long way determining how their team goes today. Nusafor and Taumata, experienced halves partnership. Menzies is a big in for Bond, him coming back, and they rely heavily on him. The other guy to watch out, Dan Boardman, has, with the injury to Corbin Keenan, he's a crucial player for this team. And Maxwell Dowd, I'm interested to see how he goes. I don't know a lot about him, so always exciting.
No, it's always great to see some new youngsters coming through and really blowing us away here in the Queensland Premier Rugby competition. Now, as always, we have to give a very special mention to the sponsors who support club and grassroots rugby, including South's major sponsor, Index Group, and Bond University's major sponsor, Bruce Linton, Land Rover and Jaguar. Now, as you can see there, Chips, we've got the tunnel starting to line up, and referee Pete Buchanan has just blown the whistle for the teams to come out. Now, before they come out here, Chips, I just want to ask you, who are your key players you want to keep an eye on today? We're starting with Souths.
Well, that's easy. The captain, Jaden Narmanu, he has been in great form for Souths. And I'm looking back on that first fixture, I think it was against Sunnybank. I reckon if he stays on the field, Souths go close to scoring a century there.
I think he only got about 10 minutes in before he pinged his hammy. So
exactly. I mean, the more footy he gets, the better, because he's not with the Reds this year, and he got game time very sporadically with them. So more game time, we'll just see him really come into his own. And if we're looking at Bond, Dan Boardman, big shoes to fill now that Kiernan's injured, but he's a really consistent player. I really like his ball playing ability, but also he's not afraid to truck it up. So he's a key for them to get them some go forward ball.
And he's obviously got a new centre pairing there with Joey Fiddick. They've been all right the last couple of weeks, but they're coming off the 2 weeks off. Do you think that's going to play a part maybe on their fitness, or do you think the weather might actually help them out with that?
I think the weather will help them out there, but I think maybe they might be a bit slow into the game. 2 weeks is a long time to have off, and I don't think they'd want that. And, I think that will play a part, to be honest.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how these two sides adapt to this wet weather. As we said there was a storm that rolled through maybe about an hour or so ago. It was quite heavy, but it has dried up since. So whether or not both sides can unlock these devastating backlines is going to be something that both Elliot Takiri and his counterpart, Brad Harris, will be looking to try and utilise.
I'll tell you what, I don't think there's any better field in QPR for a tunnel, running through a tunnel, than this South one if you're the home team.
Well, you've got to run straight through the canteen area, straight across that. They've actually got cement there now, which is good, but you used to have to clip it straight through a whole rabid crew of South supporters, and it used to be one of the most fearsome sights when you bucket all the way through about 1,000 players and supporters. So
little harder now if you've got the full metal tags on. Clickety clacking through the concrete.
No, it's 2019 chips. They don't do that anymore. As we sit here in the commentators' box, and Bond University walks straight past us, led by their talismanic skipper and Harry Nusafora. But it's the man right behind him, Angus Blythe, that could have a big bearing in this game. As we see the Magpies running out onto the field, cheered on by a raucous ladies crowd as they're out here for their Ladies' Day celebrations.
And we can see a little change there from the team sheet. Looks like Franco Abdallah's starting at loose head.
So that's a late scratching there. Franco Abdallah in number 1 coming in for Clint Malalua.
When we saw that Bond team walk past, you probably think the same. There's some big boys in that pack.
It is a massive, massive pack when you really get down to it. Obviously, they've had to shift. Well, they haven't had to, but they've chosen to shift. Kieran Van Brecht, typically a second rower, onto the side of the scrum. So they are rocking a dominating tight 5 and back row. So they're going to be a very, very big presence at scrum time, I'd have to think, today.
And particularly at line-out as well, there's a lot of options there.
A lot of tall timber.
Both teams will be probably looking to maul it today, considering the conditions, but I feel like Bond have picked a pack really suited to it.
As we are about to get underway here in this round 6, Newstead Brewing Hospital Challenge Cup fixture between Souths and Bond University. And Dion Taumata gets us underway here at Chipsy Oval with a deep kickoff and fielded there with an early touch for Wangavulangi. The Souths chancing their hand early on. Namanu with the cutout pass, receiving it on his own 22. And Pete Buchanan's got his hand out.
I think he slipped
for
up
the
there
advantage.
slightly. It's interesting to watch South wanting to move the ball so early on, considering the conditions. I mean, maybe they didn't get the memo that it's been a bit wet.
Well, I'm sure they'll find out eventually as we see Namanu with a great offload, and Jake Strawn gets it back to Ralph Yavalu, who puts it down. And here we go, Jacob McKellar and Wangavulangi down that far touchline. As we've seen so many times before, looks to shimmy back inside, but unfortunately unable to break that tackle. But South had a great opportunity here, and Teddy Teller gets it out. And on this near touchline, we see Atu Naisa, the 2-try hero from last weekend.
That's a great turnover. I couldn't see, was it Adam Gorder got on that? That's a great turnover considering South were looking pretty good then.
And if there's one thing that Bond are very good at, it is getting over that ball. We might see that a lot today as Nusafora just opts for the box kick, and Gorder unfortunately puts it down. And there's been a lot of drop pill already in this opening 90 seconds.
Yeah, I think there's a few knock-ons there. You could take your pick as to which way it's going, but we see our first line out, I think, or are we looking at a scrum? Here we go. Here's the good stuff, J-Ball.
Yeah, you got two front rowers here in the commentators' box today, so
sorry,
picked a better duo to be calling this game.
Sorry for everyone at home, but we live for this. But it's interesting because last week South got touched up at scrum time, so I imagine they've got a bit of a point to prove here. And Franco Abdallah, he's a very strong scrummager. Will Slipper's a very tall tight head, so I imagine that Abdallah is going to look to really try and get under Slipper here.
But Slipper is no slouch himself, the big man. Has been very good early on this season and slips in that first scrum, and Boardman straight off the scrum takes the settler in midfield. But it looks like South might be on this. But Bond get that ball back, and Taumata gets it out to Joey Fiddick, who finds his fullback in Max Dowd. And Menzies down that far touchline, gets the pop ball up. And Avalu is trying to affect the turnover, but does enough just to slow it down. And Taumata finds Zaki Moi Moi in midfield, and he barrels over the top of two Magpies. And Harley Fox, his opposite number, does so well over that ball to affect that turnover. And Malalua goes right and finds his skipper Namanu coming into the line.
I think South were a little lucky there with that turnover. It looked like at least one of their players wasn't quite on their feet, but here we go. Penalty now, so.
And you can hear Pete Buchanan just saying, not rolling away there, and that's a couple of penalties already thus far.
Well, we know penalties are going to be crucial in this game given the conditions, so yeah, look, both teams are going to have to make sure that they're technically very accurate at the breakdown, because it's very easy for one team to get a bit of a roll on these sort of conditions and stay down one end of the field.
And we know both sides have absolute sharpshooters in Jake Strawn and Harry Nusafora, respectively. As we see Theo Furi with the line-out throw. It's a bit wonky, but taken nonetheless. And Angus Blythe goes swimming through that maul. But Souths do well to roll off there. Malalua stepping up. Abdallah with the short ball and pushed back strongly from Bond. And Furi's isolated there. And Nick Turner went for that pilfer but wasn't able to affect it. But it looks like Angus Blythe has been able to do so. But Pete Buchanan.
Yeah, I agree with Pete there. I think a ruck had formed. Good effort from Blythe to get that body positioning. They're not easy when you've got two something metres tall.
Yeah, not easy when you've got to come from about 6'7" down to affect that turnover. As we see Jake Strawn just opting to go for the line out, so not going for the points here, Chips.
It's an interesting one. I mean, we saw when the ball's down the other end, they're really backing themselves. So, look, maybe a bit of a point to prove that the weather's not going to affect them here. Let's see if it pays off.
And Theo Furi wiping the ball down. It is very, very greasy out there. And expect them to go short in the line out, as they do, through Brad Kelleguy. But Blythe is able to go straight through that maul, and Scott Malalua climbs him like a tree. And I don't think he can do that, but he's wrapped that ball up, and they're going to have to get that out because that's now a maul that's been affected by Bond. But Pete Buchanan says it was taken in by South, and the Bond boys are right up for that one.
Great effort there from Blythe again, and I think we're starting to see, particularly with that maul D, that weight in the Bond pack coming through there.
Well, it'll be interesting to see. There's going to be a bit of pressure coming through from Franco Abdallah and Jake Simeon, you'd have to think. But the Bond scrum has been good in the opening 5 rounds of this season, Chips.
Yeah, I completely agree. Patello on the far side has really impressed me. I remember the uni game a few weeks ago where he really took the uni tight head to task, and I'm not sure where he's come from, but he's been a really invaluable addition to this Bond pack.
And Nusafora with the feed, and there it is. Right there, that shunt coming through,
Oh,
and that is heavy from Bond as they roll up the field. The Magpies look to be offside, but Taumata goes for the crossfield kick, chancing his hand and doing well, but Jaden Armanu snaps that one up.
Well, he always had a free shot there coming back for the penalty. But I tell you what, Will Slippers had his Weet-Bix today. How good was that?
He's pumped up for this one, is the big man.
He got the legs pumping, as you say, but great work from him. Abdallah's no slouch at scrum time. I know he's been out for a few weeks here and there, I think. But that was really impressive from the Bond pack. And South will be disappointed. Almost looks like they potentially left off where they did last week.
Well, it could be a long day in the office if that is the case, as we saw them last week. But Wangavulungi, that doesn't find touch, and he's stemming up the field now. And this is dangerous for the Fijian. But that's good pressure coming through there from Callum Ball and Connor Pritchard. And Atunaisa now crabbing sideways, but he's wrapped up there from Gorda. And Scott Malalua just finds the open spaces.
It's a good option.
And there's pressure coming through there from Kelagai, and he's backed up well from Avalu, but the ball's been put on the toe there, and Menzies chases his own kick.
That really could have been anything, couldn't it?
Now Strawn finds some spaces down on that far touchline inside the Bond 22, and that's a great kick from the fly half.
Well, neither team's going to die wondering, are they? But a little bit of sanity prevailed with a couple of good kicks there, and if the ball's going to sit up like that, I mean, some little dabs over from Scotty Malalua, that might be the right option there. Anything can happen.
Well, the Magpies have been camped down in the Bond 22 for the majority of this opening 8 minutes. So it'll be interesting to see if Bond can find their way out of their own red zone. And big Zach Moi Moi charges off that line out. And Taumata goes to find touch, but is unable to do so and fielded from Wangavulungi. Namanu up against Prop, who Will Slipper, able to break that tackle. And the Magpies don't know whose ball it is at the moment, as we see Simeon having to take a settler, and they've just lost 10 metres off that play, and that's turnover there through Patello, who finds his way up to the halfway, and he's not held there. Nusafora goes back to Taumata, who puts it on the shoe again, and that's a very smart kick from the experienced Bond fly half. And Gorda just slips over. And Namanu's beaten both wingers and finds Teddy Teller on his inside. And great run there from Jaden Armanu.
Geez, that was good from Narmanu. I mean, we talk about he's a key player for them, but for a guy to be able to do that in these sort of conditions, an incredible player.
And McKellar nearly spills the beans there, but does well to flick it back inside as he's going over that far touchline. Slow ball there. Simeon going into half, finds Malalua. And Joey Murray takes the settler. Kelagai is held up well, but is supported by his number 8 Fox. And Malalua just looks for that box kick again, and Joey Fiddock is met by Atunaisa, but he's able to beat him, but slips over, and he's just bundled into touch, and I think that's going to be the order of the day, isn't it, Chips?
Exactly right, and we talk about these little kicks, dabs over the top from Scotty Malalua. It's putting Bond under a bit of pressure when he times it right there, because the winger's been drawn up there, so Fiddick's there at the back by himself under a bit of pressure, and I do hope that South recognise now that right, instead of getting a bit carried away on our half, we do need to play down the right end of the field.
Well, they are at the right end of the field right now, but I guess Blythe making an absolute nuisance of himself. Atunaisa gets up toward the Bond 22 and just over it. Big Tom Lane gets it into contact. South's got a good roll on here as they march toward the Bond try line. Abdullah.
This is better patient footy from South. I mean, there's been throwing it around a little bit, but you do have to earn the right to go wide. So I like how they're just tightening it up here and just going to work their way through the phases.
And Scott Malalua is held up in that tackle, so Franco Abdullah has to go in to halfback. And slow ball here for the Magpies. And Manu gets it back inside to Kelagai, who spills it. And
And
Pete Buchanan calls knock on.
And that's where it's, would have been nice for a little bit more patience. They were just working their way down the field there. So, I probably didn't need to throw that pass, but look, knowing Manu, that's going to come off at some point today.
Yeah, it usually does come off for Jaden Manu and his fellow Magpies backs, as they like to play that high tempo brand of footy, but I think today it's all about possession and territory, Chips.
100%. Always is in this sort of weather. And, I think Bond at the moment, pretty happy that they haven't let in any points. But, they do need to exit a bit better. We've seen a few times now where you're giving Wangavalangi ball in with plenty of room to move. You don't want to be doing that.
And Moi off the back of the scrum.
Tried to walk over his player there. I like it.
He's done well to get up over the 5 metre line as the big number 8. And Taumata just hammers it up toward his own 22, and that's a line out to the Magpies. But just inside the red zone.
And that's okay, because when you've got such good line-out options, and we've seen Blythe putting a bit of pressure on South, if you're kicking the ball out, you're stopping guys like Wangavalangi getting good ball, and you're also giving your forwards a chance to really disrupt the South line-out.
Especially with the dominance they've shown early on by way of their maul defence.
Exactly right.
Faree finds Jacob McKellar, and Harley Fox held up there by Blythe, but does well to trundle up a few extra metres.
Sorry, we just got distracted there. Guy walked past with KFC, and
a huge bag of KFC has distracted Chips Blanche as per usual, but we see here Pete Buchanan calling penalty for the Magpies.
I saw you looking at it too, mate. It looks
Guilty.
like a bit of sanity
Guilty.
here. Shot at goal, J-Ball.
It is a bit of sanity. They are taking a shot at goal. And it's smart. I think 13 odd minutes in, Pete Buchanan has called.
He's pointed at the sticks.
For the sticks, but 13 odd minutes in. And it looks like Scott Malalua, who last week was also taking a shot at goal, has taken over from Jake Strawn, who has battled some hamstring injuries in the past. So maybe it might be as a result to try and preserve those hammies.
Playing on the side of caution. I understand that. Be nice to have hamstrings.
We all can't be so blessed, can we, Chips? And Malalua takes his time and has nailed it. And that's 14 minutes in. We get our first points of the game to South. Scotty Malalua. Score reads 3 points to 0. South over Bond.
A couple of nice touches. I mean, the deciding factor so far, even though we're not that far into the game, is Scotty Malalua's little darts over the top, and they're getting a few penalties as well, South, and the combination of those two things, they just stay down the right end of the field here. I mean, territory's king this sort of weather, and I'm impressed with what they've been doing so far.
Taumata gets us underway, and he goes deep, but too deep, and finds the touchline on the full.
That's going to
silly
hurt.
Error there from Dion Taumata, isn't it, Chips?
You can't do that. But we do get another scrum, which Bond will fancy themselves again. So, look, any opportunity for set piece today, Bond are going to fancy themselves, so they won't mind it too much. It is pretty similar to last week, where East fancy themselves at every scrum opportunity against South. So that last scrum, it looked like there's a bit more parity, and it'll be interesting to see what happens here, because it's a great attacking opportunity for South. Midfield scrum can go either side. Wingers are up, or at least one of them is. So plenty of options here for the Magpies.
I think you'll see a feisty little nudge here from the boys from the GC as I'll try to spoil this ball. But South do well to hold that as the ball goes down. Strawn finds Teddy Teller, and that's a short ball to Avalu, but he's put it down. And Connor Pritchard is unable to clean it up. And again, scrappy stuff there, isn't it, Chips?
Softer hands are the order of the day. We look back at that passage of play down in the right-hand corner where South were just working through the phases. Yeah, it's a little bit one out, but in these conditions, sometimes that's the right way to do it. we always talk about it, earn the right to go wide. You've got to get over the advantage line first.
And I think the team that just holds on to the pill most today is obviously going to come away or put themselves in the best position to come away with the W.
But conversely, good attacking opportunity here for Bond. It'll be interesting to see whether they dab it in over the top or whether they think they're going to spin it as well.
Well, it could be their first attacking foray into the South's half. Nusafora with the feed. And Gorda comes in off his wing and charges up towards the halfway line. And Peter Buchanan says that is a penalty advantage to Bond there, and Moi gets it to Dan Borman. Nusafora. Taumata goes out wide with the bounce pass, and Menzies has to march back infield. And he looks like he might be held up here from Ivalu and the Magpies defence, but Pete Buchanan says it is a penalty, but Menzies goes quick, and there's the sevens mind frame that Ryan Menzies does possess to go quick. Turner with the latch on from his front row partner in Will Slipper. He could be isolated here, could. Turner.
Yeah, I don't think they're on their. I don't think they're supporting their weight properly there, though.
Referee Buchanan agrees.
You could see elbows on the ground from both players, and I think the number 7 there, Keller was the guy who infringed earlier as well. So we talk about accuracy at the breakdown, and there's 2 examples of inaccuracy that could really hurt South. If I'm Bond here, I take the shot. I understand the quick tap before. You thought you might be able to sneak 10, but I think take the shot here, get some parity on the scoreboard, and then look to get back down the right end of the park.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you, Chips, but you can just see there both Keller and Jacob McKellar both not supporting their own body weight.
Yeah, and that's one thing I think, sort of segueing into Super Rugby a bit. I think the referees need to go back and refocus on players supporting their own weight. I think maybe a little bit's crept into where we're not encouraging we're not rewarding good body position. We're allowing players who aren't supporting their weight to get on the ball and slow down the pill and affect turnovers or force a penalty. So I like what Pete's doing there. Set the tone and don't let the game become scrappy where both teams are having a crack illegally at the ball.
As we see Dion Taumata stepping up to take the points here in place of Harry Nusafora. Potentially may not have the distance. So it's up to the veteran to step up. And he struck it well. Has Taumata, but it's just to the right of the uprights.
It's a good looking kick. Yeah, it had a bit on it, but fell shorter than I thought it was going to.
But it hasn't been put down, and Wangavulungi gets the ball unexpectedly, and he hammers that downfield, and the unexpected torpedo.
That is a great kick.
Down towards the 22, and Fiddick finds Taumata, and that's 3 quick passes to find Harry Nusafora on this right-hand side, who puts the torpedo in. It's great to see the torpedo coming out of the playbook, and Atuna Issa drops it on the toe. Bit too much length on that one. And Joey Fiddick steams onto that and is able to get the offload away to Van Brecht, who's found himself in a bit of space, and he looks to get it back inside to Callum Ball. The ball does hit the ground, and it's snapped up from Menzies, who's got great leg drive, does the winger. That's a great run to put Bond in a great attacking opportunity inside the South's red zone. And Moi trundles it up, back, beats that first tackle. Taumata finds Patello, who bounces it out the back to Dan Boardman. As we said before the game, a player to watch in this round 6 fixture. But you can't do that. But it looks like there was a little bit of ruck, a little bit of the dark arts going on there.
It's
there, Chips?
Something. We couldn't quite see what it was. There's always a hand somewhere, isn't there, J-Ball? But what I really like there, great read from Harley Fox. Noticing that Baldwin was going to get the ball out the back, shutting down the play. But the other thing I really liked as well, Bond with a lot of the support on the inside there, great meters, and that's what we want to see more of in this sort of wet weather footage. Good short passing, up and down the field, not getting too much width, because that's when the ball spills.
And as you said, it is a bit of a wet one out there, so you've seen the team playing the smartest footy seems to have the ascendancy. Malalua finds Strawn, who hammers it downfield and has found a ton of space, and that is a great kick.
God, he got a bit on that, didn't he? Oh.
And Gorda decides to keep that one infield. Does well to do so. And Joey Fiddick just hammers it up 30 metres from his own try line.
Bit of a net gain for South there, though. That was a great kick from Strawn. Gorda made it really difficult for himself there.
Didn't he? And the Magpies now with a great attacking opportunity, but it is a very low throw. And Atuna Isa cleans it up. It's Strawn, finds Jaden Armanu in that far channel. And this is good play here from the Magpies, marching upfield through lane as they go down the blind side through Strawn, who does well. The young fly half keeps the legs pumping. Lane again with the tip on, and Caligai spills it. And Will Slipper does so well to get down low there and regather that pill.
It was a nice little passage of play there from South. You know, the space down the short side well recognised, and Strawn keeping his feet, waiting for the forwards to come in, give him a bit of a roll on. Just last pass going to ground, unfortunately. But you got to take those opportunities in a game like this.
And it's been the order of the day thus far. Just those small errors obviously creeping in. Probably going to happen a lot more as the fatigue starts to set in as well.
The good thing is it doesn't look like it's going to get any wetter. I think we were worried that we were going to get another storm coming through, but I think hopefully it has passed us, and I can see a bit of blue peeking in around the traps. So,
no, I mean, despite the wet weather earlier on, it is a good day for footy. A bit wet underneath, but good temperature. And as you said, doesn't look like rain will be coming in once again, but that pitch you can see is already starting to show some signs of fatigue.
I'll tell you who really appreciate this temperature, the piggies.
Oh, yeah.
God, you love it when it's a bit cooler like this. Sun's not out.
Well, last week we had a 33 or so degree day.
Yeah.
And it was pretty warm out there at Yoku Road. A bit cooler out here at Chipsy Wood. But you can see the ladies out up around the halfway line. It's a very good turnout, isn't it, Chips, despite the early wet weather?
South do Ladies' Day very well. I was down here a few years ago with our mutual friend Jimmy Turner. And
former South skipper.
Yep, stalwart. It is always a good day here, Ladies' Day. They do it really well.
And I can't help but think it's going to start to open up a bit more, and we can get a bit more entertaining footy for this decent-sized crowd out here at Chipsy Wood Oval. Bond with the feed, 10 metres from their own try line. And they get that shunt on, and Harry Nusafora is just calling them through. And he is riding them up towards their own 22 and decides to go down the blind side to Taumata, and that's a great smart little ball back inside. And he finds big Zaki Moi Moi.
Does not want to be put down.
Does not go down easily.
Does
the big
Zaki.
man. And Borbett finds half a gap and tucks it under his wing and gets almost through. Nusafora comes down this right side, and Menzies struck hard there from Ralph Yavalu. And Furi looking to put some pressure on at the breakdown.
You see Bond just getting away from their support a bit there. Well spotted by South to have a crack at it.
But they're doing well to get those post-contact meters. Bond and Patello takes it into contact. Good quick ball here from Bond as they go down the far touchline through Joey Fiddick.
So they've just got to be patient here, Bond, and just keep working through the phases. Oh, no. Don't mind that, though.
And that's a good, smart kick there from Taumata as it takes that big left-hand turn, but does stay in field. Fielded through Malalua. Patello coming through on Narmanu, goes to his knees, but is able to get away from him. Wungavulangi, as always, looking dangerous. Gets the offload away to Strawn, who struck hard there from Angus Blythe and driven back.
Got all of him there, didn't he?
Malalua again opts for that box kick, and he's found meterage again. And that's a great kick from the experienced Scott Malalua. Menzies off his left boot, finds touch, 30 metres out. Teddy Teller decides to go quickly. And Namanu is by himself, decides to drop it on the toe and finds the touchline. Good net gain there from the Magpies.
Yeah, exactly right. And the kick wasn't a bad option from Taumata before, but he really did need to let it find touch. So, again, this Bond forward pack can put some pressure on at line-out time, because even in these conditions, if you give South that back three too much room, they're going to open you up like that. And good awareness from Malalua to recognise lots of space in behind.
And that's a poor throw from Turner. And the Magpies affect the turnover. And Atunaisa takes into contact but spills it after being struck there hard by Zach Moy. And good pressure coming through on down Taumata. Joey Murray puts him under pressure, but he's able to get the offload away. And Menzies again off that left boot hammers it up towards the halfway line. And that's another good kick, but again doesn't find touch. And Wungavulangi looks to get through that Bond defensive line, but is unable to do so and was held up, but let down safely. And Souths struggling to get back into an attacking position, but they look to have done so now as Harley Fox gets it to Ralph Yavalu, who spills it there.
Not a great pass from Harley Fox there. I think the better option, just tuck your head down and have a crack yourself. Coach was those ones, because they've done so well to work back to after a really good kick from Menzies, and just a little silly there. You know, you've got to earn the right to go wide first. We say it all the time, but
good play there from Bond. They've been good considering they don't have too much possession. So if they can start to control play a bit, you've seen that they're doing very well in marching their way upfield. As we see Bond obviously having to travel up from the Gold Coast, and they've got a few fresh subs as well as a few.
And that's been one of the better things about Bond this year. They appear to have a bit more depth, and the guys that have been coming off the bench have been making a real impact for them. So look to see them in the second half.
And Boardman takes into contact as he does so well. And Taumata sings it out to Max Dowd. Very deep are the Bond attacking players. And that's a penalty to Bond, not rolling away.
Yeah, a little bit unlucky there, South. So it was almost a maul, and I feel like the South player was well and truly trapped in there. Probably couldn't roll away, but at the same time, the emphasis is on the defending player in the ruck to fall the right way to make sure that it's contestable, but tight one that.
And Taumata finds touch about 35 odd metres away from their attacking try line. And another good position here for Bond. They want to make sure they know that line out, and they do. Taumata just goes short there. Tagorda goes straight through, and Atunaisa can't come over and affect the tackle. And Namanu stuck his hand out and given away the penalty there. Very lucky not to have been shown yellow, as we've seen.
Yeah, exactly right there, Joe. I think there definitely was a case for a yellow card, but I would have liked to see Gorda just back himself, just put the hammer down.
Well, you can see it here. Great little ball there from Taumata, and Gorda almost didn't expect himself to go through, and he beats that tackle there.
Just here, I would have liked to see him just back himself to get under the post there. You know, you could dive early, and with the wet field like that, slide over.
Well, I think referee Pete Buchanan has only said penalty as a result of the covering of Wungavulangi, but if he wasn't there, Connor Pritchard would have gone over untouched. I think very lucky Jaden Namanu to stay on the field. Well, we're 30 minutes in, Chips, and only 3-0. It's been a very, very low-scoring affair thus far.
Not surprising. It's a little bit scrappy, and not teams out neither team putting a lot of phases together consistently. But this is the best opportunity Bonds had. So interesting to see what they can do here. I'm not sure what Angus Blythe was doing. Did he think the ball come out?
As we see, Moi gets it to his skipper, Nosifora, who gets hit hard, but is able to get the offload away to Fiddock. And Van Brecht.
It almost came undone for Bond there. I get these going wider channels straight away. Oh,
that's a
nice
great
pass.
little offload away there from downtown Marta, and Joey Fiddock goes through and scores the first try of the match 30 minutes in. Score reads Bond 5 points to 3 over the Magpies.
Well, persistence pays off there. I was just about to say before it all that maybe in a little bit tighter, but a little bit of soft D there from, sorry, Atunasai just slipped there. That's what did it. That's what created the space.
And I think, again, we're going to see a fair amount of that today because it is very slippery underfoot, but good on Bond that they're able to come away with points in that attacking zone.
Yeah, you can just see it is a lovely ball here from Taumata, but I think Atunasai makes that tackle if he's got some metal sprigs in, hey? Maybe he does. Maybe I'm being unfair on him, but it'd be interesting to know who has actually traded the moulds for the metal tags today.
Well, as we see again, Dion Taumata stepping up to take the shot at goal. So, typically, Harry Nosifora and Jake Strawn are the two key goal kickers for their sides and two of the best in the competition. But looks like Scotty Malalua and Dion Taumata have usurped them.
Well, they're no slouches, are they?
No. Both great goal kickers in their own right. Both very experienced players as well. Taumata strikes it well again, but again, just right of the upright. Sees the score remain 5 points to 3 in favour of Bond over the Magpies. And now we have to give a very special mention to Index Group, the major sponsor of South, for the long-term support of the club and grassroots rugby. And Jake Strawn gets us underway again and goes long with a towering drop kick. Fielded just outside the Bond 22 by Gorda. He does well to get it back. And Taumata steps up and slips as he kicks the ball. And again, doesn't find touch. And Harley Fox swings it infield to his skipper, Namanu, who's hit hard there from Kieran Van Brecht. But a good attacking opportunity again here for the Magpies as we see Ralphie Avalu just bounce off Ryan Menzies. No mean feat.
Steam train, I like it.
Furi hit low and looked like an awkward position there. It seems to be okay. And Abdullah with a great ball out the back finds Darmanu. And Caligai does well to stay in field. Natuna Issa gets bundled into touch, and a great shot there from big Zaki Moi.
Yeah, look, they've made good meters in that passage of play, but I would like to have seen them play a little bit tighter. South have been getting some pay when they are playing a bit tighter and not pushing it so far wide, but just got to keep the ball in hand, I think, for both teams.
And Blythe to the front of the line out, uncontested. Taumata just opts to hammer it long, but only gets about 10 metres purchase on that. As the ball smashes into the commentary box. Scared the hell out of me, I'm not going to lie. But this is a great opportunity here now for the Magpies with 6 minutes to go in this half.
Yeah, not the best pass there from Nusafora to Taumata. Had him reaching for it. May have played a part in him skewing it off the boot. I'm not sure why we're stopped here.
No, it looks like the ball's on
Extra
the field
ball
on the far side.
As you say, Jay, really good opportunity for South, and I just want to see them keep the ball in hand.
Good contested line out. Patello does well to clean up at the back, and that's play on, knocked backwards, but Gordo is wrapped up there. And Jake Strawn unable to roll away and giving away the penalty, and they've released the pressure valve on this Bond outfit.
Yeah, a bit similar to the last penalty we saw down the other end of the field, where South probably thought they had them all there, collapsed more, and referee Buchanan disagreed, wants to see them clear the ruck.
He's looking good, isn't Pete Buchanan?
Yeah, he's
looks
in
like
good.
He's lost about 10 odd kegs.
He's in good, Nick. Good on you, Pete. Keep working hard.
Good. And that's a great kick there from Taumata. Gets it up towards the South's 10-metre line with 5 minutes to go in this half. Bond will definitely be looking to try and get some extra points to round out this first half. But it is greasy, and points have been very hard to come by out here in the opening 35 minutes at Chipsy Wood Oval. And that's a good line out from Bond. Quick ball there for Taumata, who finds big Zaki Moi and just trundles over the top of Jake Strawn and trundles over the top of Harley Fox as well. And that's a huge run from Zach Moi.
God, he's been hard to stop today. He's
Isn't
unreal.
He is an absolute unit, both with ball and without, as we see Bond marching up towards the South 22-metre line. A good run there from Nick Turner, the club captain at Bond University. And Angus Blythe gets up into the red zone. And here he is again, Moi. Struck low well there from Theo Fourie. But Harley Fox is well and truly off his feet. But good from Pete Buchanan, just letting the ball play. And Boardman fights for that extra metre or two in contact. Musafora finds Turner again, who's been busy in this set. And that's an ugly pass there from Musafora. And Dowd is able to clean that up, but he's just dropped that cold from the looks of it. Yeah, again, just the pressure valve release there, Chips.
Yeah, they were looking good there, Bond. I think similar to South, they maybe just need to tighten up a bit. I mean, Musafora has to throw a very long pass there to find his man, and I would have liked to see they're getting pay out of the big units like Moi charging down the field, and again, stick to what's working.
We see there Nick Turner just getting his shoulder looked at. He was very busy in that set of phases there, wasn't he, Chips?
He was. He's a very busy player, full stop. And I'm not surprised. We'll probably see a couple of players go down in the next couple of minutes before the half. It's a busy half, and I imagine there's a few tired bodies out there.
Well, we all know as soon as it rains, those boots feel like they're made of concrete. Especially the ones with the metal sprigs. Probably add another kilo or two each. But expect to see some real shunt here from Bond, as we see just under 3 minutes to go in this half.
Yeah, it'd be a great time to force a penalty, wouldn't it? Not too far from the sticks, very kickable. Let's see if Slipper can get up on this side here.
And you see the pressure coming through there. Franco Abdullah is absolutely buckled, but they're able to get that ball back. And that was very ugly.
Great kick, though.
And they've done well to get it down inside the Bond 22, and Joey Fiddick has to track back. And affects a very good kick off his left boot, getting it up towards their own 10-metre line.
Yeah, there was a bit of a case there for a penalty to Bond at scrum time. I think if the ball had stayed in any longer, Pete would have had no choice but to give a penalty to Bond, because Abdallah definitely stood up then.
Yeah, he looked very uncomfortable, did the young loose-head prop. Referee goes long in the line out, finds McKellar. Harley Fox in midfield. And South looking to run it, and they're doing so well, getting Lungavulangi back in off that blind wing. Strawn finds Fourie in midfield. But Van Breck does so well to get over that ball, but referee Pete Buchanan just says he was hinging over and not supporting his own body weight.
Yeah, I think he didn't quite get it quickly enough there. If you're watching the replay, he gets over, but I don't think he's quite on the ball straight away, which means when he does go for it, he's lost his shape.
Yeah, you've seen them go either way, but I think people did get the right call there. And we can see South opting to go for the points with only 70-odd seconds to go in this first half. It'll be up to Scotty Malalua to try and get this Magpies outfit into the sheds with a 1-point lead. And you can hear the beats starting to crank up in the background. I think Ladies' Day is starting to get a little bit amped up. And Malalua steps up, and he should just have the legs, but he shaved it off to the right.
It's unfortunate.
And that will round out this first half in this round 6 fixture between Bond University and South's Magpies at Chipsy Wood Oval in the Newstead Brewing Hospital Challenge Cup. Now, Chips, have got to ask you a very, very low-scoring first half. What do you think in regards to Bond? How have they gone in that first half?
Well, you're right, it's a very dour affair, but again, not surprising considering the conditions. And I think both teams, when they've kicked, and particularly when Scotty Malalua's kicked, they've got a lot of pay out of it, and both teams are probably shifting it a little bit too much. They're not respecting the conditions enough. I think when you're getting down the right end of the field, just need to put phases together. You don't need to shift it too wide. You can make metres in contact when it is a little wet like that. So just back your forwards to trundle it up, and both teams just need to tighten it up a bit, I think, if they want to, one, get kickable penalties, two, get over the try line.
Well, I was about to ask, what do you reckon in regards to Souths? I mean, they're going down 5 points to 3, but obviously still a close game. Do you think they've played a good half of footy?
I think neither team will be really happy with how they've played. I mean, there's been some really good patches, but neither team's really enforcing their will on the game. It's seesawing a bit. Whoever's kicking better is generally staying down the right end of the paddock for extended periods of time. And look, it's going to stay slippery, isn't it? So we expect some more mistakes, and I think the smarter team will be the one that plays field position, starts putting the pressure on, stay down there, and then maybe force a penalty, the kickable penalties, just to start getting the scoreboard ticking over.
I've got to agree with you there, Chips. Well, it'll be interesting to see. We're about to take a quick break in this round 6 fixture of the 2019 Newstead Brewing Hospital Challenge Cup between South Magpies and Bond University. Stick around and we'll be back very shortly. And welcome back, ladies. Fixture at Gypsy Wood Oval between the South Magpies and Bond University of the Newstead Brewing Hospital Challenge Cup. Now we can see here the score remains 5 points to 3. Very low scoring affair, but we'll go around to all the other grounds just to get a quick gauge as to how all the other fixtures are going around in the Queensland Premier Rugby competition at the moment. It's always exciting when we get the drum roll coming up for these fixtures, and we can see out at Skyfleet Stadium the Tigers are up 15 points to 0 over the Doggies.
That hurts. That
one does hurt, and then we can see another low-scoring affair down that bottom left-hand corner there. The University of Queensland versus Sunnybank. I actually saw the side Sunnybank listed was very good, and Uni were out a few players, so interesting to see that. Then 17 points to 7 there, Jeeps over Norths.
Yeah, that hurts from a Doggies perspective. That's East obviously turning it on.
And we're underway in the second half of this round 6. Newstead Brewing Hospital Challenge Cup fixture between the Magpies and Bond University at Gypsy Wood Oval. It is Ladies' Day out here at Gypsy Wood. And despite the weather, there is a pumping crowd getting right behind the Magpies as we see Bond looking to work it out of their own 22. But some sting coming through from this Magpies defence as Taumata just opts to put it on the toe and again hasn't found touch, which has been their Achilles heel all day, giving the Magpies ample opportunity to take it back into their attacking half. And Teddy Teller gets to Wangavulungi. Has been quiet, has the electric winger to be expected with this weather. Strawn, short ball there, finds the youngster Furi.
Turner was almost on that.
And Callaghan takes it into contact, does well to roll out of that and get a couple extra metres. And Furi again has been busy in this opening minute for the Magpies. Good long pass there from Malalua, but Jake Simeon spills it in midfield and it's cleaned up there from Zach Moy, who gets it to Patello, who himself spills it, but that is going to be a scrum there. Now, I don't know about you, Chips, but South are really looking into this second half and really coming out early.
Oh, they are. They're having a red-hot crack. But again, I tighten up. I mean, you saw Simeon there having to do a bit of ball playing out wide, and it's just unnecessary in these conditions. Just tuck it up and let less side to side, more direct rugby, because that's when they're making really good metres, when they're running hard at the defensive line. At the moment, it's too easy for Bond to just shift across and match, make a tackle. You've got to get a bit more direct, boys.
And I think guys like Ralphie Avalu and Dan Borman in this type of weather are the sort of players you want to be getting ball in hand.
Oh, Ralphie Avalu only knows one way, doesn't he? That is forward.
And it is at a million miles an hour from the outside centre there, just in the centre of our screen, number 13. And in the absence, obviously, of Tautala Tasi having moved on and gone down to the Melbourne Rebels, he's taken his opportunity. He's been very good for the Magpies early on this year.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Tasi was fantastic for them last year, and those are big shoes to fill, let alone Carmichael Hunt and Quade Cooper no longer being there. But he's gone well so far, has Ralphie.
And there's a good early shunt there from Bond, but that's an ugly kick, and Atu Naisa bounces off his hands and into touch, so now Bond should get this ball back just inside the Magpies' 10-metre line, and this is a great opportunity here for Bond.
Yeah, I like that option, that kick as well from Bond. Low, hard low kick, make it really difficult for South to take it cleanly.
Turner goes to the front of the line out, looking to go for the no-jump option, but they've spilt it. And they've let the foot off early on in this half with a great attacking opportunity.
Yeah, probably not the right time to run the trick play line out to the man at the front. Slippery ball, just stick to the basics, I think. But yeah, like we said it just before half-time, neither team's really figured out how to consistently exert influence over this game. The team that does figure out how to maintain possession in the right end of the park, or at least get down the right end of the park and stay there, will win this game. At the moment, it's just a bit too scrappy, a bit loose.
as we see Malalua with the feed on his own 10-metre line. And there's heavy pressure coming through from Bond, but South do well to get it out. And Teddy Teller just opts to put it on the toe, and he might have skewed that one a little bit, but just finds it just before the touchline. And they're just going back and forth here, aren't they, Chips?
And it's interesting at scrum time. Jake Simeon was one of the better props in the competition last year. And I think he's been a little bit of a slow starter this year. He was good when he came on at NRC time, but maybe it's the not used to the combination with new hooker, new man behind him in the scrum. But he's been under a bit of pressure the last few weeks.
Well, he found himself a contract in Hong Kong, did the big tight head prop as we see the ball spear out the back, and it's that man again, Ralph Yavalu, coming through, and he's able to pick that up, and that's Brad Callagay, actually, who looks like he's picked that up, and he's Johnny on the spot, and he's picked up the first 5-pointer for the Magpies 4 minutes into this second half.
And yet staying down the right end of the field pays dividends in these conditions, so good from Souths. Play who got up in the face of, or was it just a sloppy pass?
Yeah, it looks like it was just a sloppy pass from Bond, but it was Ralphie Avalu. As we said, he's been ever present in this game. And Harry Nusafora went to go down on that ball, but it just squeezed out. And Brad Callagay will be hard-pressed to get himself an easier try in his career.
Yeah, and I go back to it as well. Dion Tamata there looking for a wider pass where maybe just better off having someone running a bit of a shorter line off him, so there's less chance of the South being able to put them under so much defensive pressure or put so much pressure on the pass. But good reward for the Magpies. I'll be pretty happy to kick off the second half with the first points.
And Malalua takes his time. And he shanked that one. Has the oh-so-experienced Scott Malalua. So the score remains 8 points to 5. And Chips, that could really come back to bite him.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Interesting to see what effect that has on the game. But that's a very kickable shot of goal.
And Taumata gets us underway again. Opts to go down the middle of the field with that tall drop kick. And the two number 8s go toe-to-toe.
Don't you love that?
Fox and Moi respectively. It's always great when you get those one-on-one battles. But Pete Buchanan just says no clear release in that ruck there. So again, another pressure reliever. And I don't know about you, Chips, but this is the sort of stuff that can really turn the tide for the Magpies.
Yeah, exactly right. We saw, is that ball out? No.
No, it isn't. As we see, another pressure valve being released for Bond, and it's an ugly pass. And juggled there from Van Brecht, who finds himself in open space as the big Tasmanian. He gets that offload away to Will Slipper. He shows a clean set of heels to step sideways there and get a bit of open space. Max down it, adds himself into the attacking line, and Joey Fiddick is down near this near touchline and is bundled into touch, but that's good footy there from Bond to march upfield.
It is, but again, the sideline is not your friend in this weather. I'd be again a little bit tighter. Great run from Van Brecht though. He clearly likes not having to do so much at scrum time because when we see him at 6, he's got a real spring in his step.
Yeah, he's not having to get in and do that hard grafting work in the rucks as much as possible, as much as usual, sorry. So possibly frees him up for a bit more work on the fringes, and we've seen him busy all day. And Fury with the throw finds Murray at the front of the line out. Malalua just swings it back nice and early to Strawn, who puts it on the toe. And it's fielded there from Max Dowd. And Fiddick finds open space. He's dragged down well from behind by Valu. And Borman, his centre partner, gets to find that space, but he's offloaded straight into the hands of Teddy Teller, who's hit hard there from Moi, but does well to fight in that contact zone and retain possession there. Strawn again, opts to put it on the toe. And again, it's found so much green space back there. And Max Dowd gets it on the second opportunity there. A good long kick, but again, not finding touch. Bond. And they've just given this devastating back three from South opportunity.
That is
and they have
lovely
taken it with two
kick.
hands.
Great kick from Manu there. And I think we're seeing South start to win that kick battle pretty convincingly at the moment.
Yeah, Dion Taumata has got an absolutely fantastic kicking game, but he seems to be overshadowed here from Strawn and Namanu and Teller and co.
And here come the big boppers.
The cavalry. Bring in the artillery.
Oh, the piano movers.
They go short at the front of the line out. I think that's what they were trying to do early on in that first half. They've nailed it there. And Moi takes three blokes to bring him to ground. Taumata opts for that torpedo, and he's absolutely punted it. Hammer it down towards the 22-metre line of the Magpies. And Armanu decides to put it on the toe. He's put a bit too much length on that one, but Atunaisa is steaming through, and that's a wayward pass from Taumata.
Offside, is it?
And I think there was only about 6 or 7 players offside there.
From South, yep. I thought for a moment he might have been blowing up a penalties to South for an accidental offside, but you're right, didn't look like too many of the South players were retreating during that kick.
As Taumata finds the safety of the touchline, 45 metres from his own try line.
Backwards,
just backwards. You can see just a bit too much distance on this, but look at Atunaisa just storming onto it. But you can see them right there. Harley Fox was moving forward. Joey Murray. A few of the South guys made no attempt to work their way back. That's a great shot there of Jake Simeon. Callum Ball with a short ball. A good strong run up towards the halfway line there from Patello. And Van Breck is shot low there from Josateki Murray, but does well to keep the Pistons firing and gets up towards the half again. Taumata singing it early. Pritchard gets it to Max Dowd, who looks to get the offload away. Was unable to do so. And Taumata sees space to go straight through. He's isolated here, is Taumata, but he's done well to stay on his feet and keep moving up into the red zone of the Magpies. We see an ugly pass there from Nusafora, but it's fielded there. Soccer styles there from Zach Moi. But that's just shot. Their attacking raid in the foot, and they're going to have to start again through Van Brecht.
No, it looked like referee was playing an advantage there. I wonder if he still is. It'll be interesting to see whether Bond have a real crack here or tighten up.
Well, Taumata bounces out the back there, finds Joey Fiddick, who's got great footwork. Taumata to Turner, who's hit hard, both high and low.
There it is. He was playing advantage. Interesting to hear what for.
And you can hear Harry Nusafora just asking the question, but opting to go for the 3 points here to level it up.
It's half for 13 minutes, and that's the first penalty for that.
Okay, but it's still continuing on from first.
Understand?
Yeah, just
Context phases of play, but understand. Appreciate the point.
Nusafora, they're not missing an opportunity to try and prime referee Buchanan there.
But Peter Buchanan said it's the first penalty 13 odd minutes into this second half, so he's not going to ping them unjustly.
I can't see much. So,
but I do understand where Nusafora is coming to some degree. Their Souths were a bit, I guess you'd say, not supporting their body weight or cavalier at the breakdown in the first half. So Nusafora just reminding the ref that that can't continue in the second half from his perspective.
Taumata adds the extras, so that takes the scores to 8 points all, 53 minutes into the second half of this round 6 fixture of the 2019 Newstead Brewing Hospital Challenge Cup. And of course, we have to give a special mention to Bonds University's primary sponsor, Bruce Linton, Land Rover and Jaguar, for their long-term support of the club and grassroots rugby.
Come on.
Straw gets us underway again.
Oh, big Zaki trundling up again. God, he's been busy today. Definitely one of Bond's best, and as we see them shift the ball here, I would like to again see them play a bit tighter, but it did work in the last passage of play where a South player fell off a pretty simple tackle, allowing Taumata to sneak through.
As Taumata again hammers it long, and that's a booming kick, but that's very well fielded from Ngamanu as we see the sun start to creep its head out here at Chipsy Wood Oval. And there's a bit of force forwards and backs here as we see Taumata again drops it on the toe over the head of Atu Naisa, and that's a great kick.
Very good kick there from Bond. Gone quickly.
And Namanu's inside his own 22, but he's met well by Taumata, who's chased his own kick, but he's done very well to get out of his own 22, and Atu Naisa firing again, and McKellar goes down that far touchline. Malalua to Strawn. Strawn looks inside, looks to try and beat Harry Nusafora, but Big Tom Lane is unable to pick it up. And Zach Moy has done well to get back there, and I think if Strawn had just given it inside to Big Tom Lane, could have been curtains.
Yeah, but some good support work on the inside there from South. We haven't really seen that from them today. We saw it from Bond earlier, but that's the first time South have really backed up on the inside well.
Sub.
And it sounds like we're getting a few changes here from Bond.
Yeah, it sounded like they were calling out Callum Ball and Andrew Patello.
Yeah, time's off. Yeah.
And that looks like Luke Papworth and Jack Winchester, have come on to the field.
Two guys that have really impressed me this year with the impact they've had off the bench. So Bond at the moment really needs something from their bench because the momentum's definitely shifted South's way. And early in the second half, we thought it was looking like Bond were going to really kick on with things, but Souths have come back well and staying down the right end of the park.
Hold the line out, hold the line out.
And folks, we've got to give a special thank you to Newstead Brewing, the Hospital Challenge Cup's new naming rights sponsor for 2019, for their continued support of rugby in Queensland. Efuri to the front to Caligai. Long pass out to Ralphie Avalu, who's hit low from Connor Pritchard, who's been good in the opening rounds for Bond, but quiet today. And that is a huge run there from the Magpies, getting up towards their own their attacking try line. Amanu goes one-on-one with Fiddick. And this is good work from the Magpies, playing it in close through Clint Malalua. That's a good short ball there from Harley Fox. Looks to get the hands free, but is unable to do so. Teddy Teller looks to get that offload away, is unable to do so, and it's intercepted there from Joey Fiddick. And it looks like he's going to streak away. Jake Strawn isn't going to be able to catch it, but here comes Wangavalangi, and Amori Wangavalangi sticks on him. And Joey Fiddick goes in early and slides over to get a try in the 56th minute. And that's how quickly it can change, Chips.
Absolutely, and geez, Wangavalangi came from nowhere then to almost slow down, but Fiddick knew that all he had to do was dive, in these sort of conditions, 5 metres out, and you are going to slip over the try line. And
that's the second try there for Joey Fiddick as well. So he's having a big game. He's the outside centre, the fullback come outside centre.
Real opportunist try here, but probably again a pass that didn't need to be thrown. I mean, they were making such good metres in the collision.
But he's done well to gas Jaden Armanu there, who is no slouch. But look at Amori Wangavalangi. It looked like Joey Fiddick had switched off, but I think he knew he had the wet weather on his side and was able to slide in from about 3 or 4 metres out.
5 more metres, and He's in a bit of trouble there.
And he is in some serious strife. But that's the bounce back and how easy it can happen. As Bond strike back when looking like South were about to come away with some points. And that's blown this game wide open as we see Taumata lining up this shot at goal.
Very important kick this, Jabo, if we look at the scoreboard. You'd want to hope that he slots this to make sure that if South's to get back into it, have to kick a converted try.
And he's gotten right under that one, but it's got the legs, and again, just up to the right of the upright. So, as you said, Chips, missed opportunity there for Bond University, but they do lead South Magpies 13 points to 8. Now remember, folks, Queensland Rugby is bringing Premier Rugby fans all 4 games live and free in 2019. If you want to check it out, head to redsrugby.com.au.
I'd like to see them go long off this kickoff, but we're going shorter. Oh,
And that looks like it's a Falcon bouncing off the grill of Luke Papworth. Jake Strawn is now in an opportunity here inside the Bond half, and Avalu takes it back into the contact.
it's a good play. Run to your support. More of that.
And that's a short ball there from Teller. Might have been forward, but referee Peter Buchanan says play on. And Teller steps into that first 5 roll once again and gets that short ball to Furi. And they're playing some really tight football here. The Magpies. And you can see they're just looking to try and trundle it up through the middle. And Malalua gets it out to his half partner in Strawn, who decides to put it on the toe, and that's a great kick once again. Wangavulagi coming through, and Calagai could be there again to clean up the scraps. And there's a great opportunity here for the Magpies, and that's offside surely there from Kieran Van Brecht. Harley Fox brought down. Peter Buchanan is giving that penalty advantage. And that looks like Malalua could be going over. But Furi has to come back, and now it could be try time for Theo Furi. And that is try time, and the Magpies are back in it. And the score reads 13 all, 60 minutes in. And this second half has just gone bang, bang, Chips.
A great vision then from Strawn to recognise that the winger had been brought up. This is a great kick. The wet's always going to hold it up there, and great chase from Wangavalangi there, put the pressure on, but smart heads-up play from Strawn. Love it.
And it could have been Calagai again going for his second try. But very lucky there that they did score the try for Bond.
I suspect it would have been a
Kieran
yellow
Van Brecht
card.
could have been shown a bit of cheese there, because that was very lazy running. But you can just see it here. Theo Furi, the youngster, goes over. And Elliot Takiri in the background, absolutely loving it.
Well, they certainly needed it. It's good reward for the good passage of play before the opportunist try from Bond. So the Souths have looked the better team in the back end of this second half.
And there we see the first conversion of the match, successful from that man, Jake Strawn, who we said typically takes the shots at goal. And Taumata taking his time. And Taumata decides to go long once again. And fielded by Fox just outside his own 22. And Strawn opts to find the touchline and gets up toward his own 10 metre. But we can see there's been a substitution. Big Paula Cajo is on the field. Former Tongan international, I believe. Chips Blanche. He's been devastating the opening few rounds.
No, that's it. Taking names, cashing checks. I love his work.
And Calagai cleans up the scraps And Avalu, just watch that one go out in front of him. And Manu drops it on the toe, and that's a great kick, getting it down into the attacking third. And Bond are going to have to work their way out of here. And the kicking game, Chips, I don't know about you, but it's been awesome from the Magpies in this opening 60-odd minutes.
It has. The second half in particular, Souths have been really smart about when they're kicking. They're drawing the wingers up and then isolating the fullback, putting it in the corners. And, set piece is tough in these conditions, so you can put a lot of pressure on the hooker just by him having to throw the ball in these conditions.
And they go long, and that's exactly what you said, Chips. It has been difficult for Bond, and cleaned up there from Caligai, the back of the line out. And this is a great run there from Clint Malalua to be able to beat those first 1 and 2 tackles. Yeah. Fox having to go into half.
It's a nice little release and pick the ball up and go again. Oh, lovely play. That might be a bit of a high shot.
Peter Buchanan says play on, and Fox again goes into the halfback roll. And Manu hit hard there from Slipper, but bounces out. Does well to get that ball out. Malalua comes down the short side again through Wangavulungi. Does well to bury his head and almost go through. Magpies only a metre out from the Bond try line. Good quick ball here for the Magpies, and Harley Fox with the hit and spin picks up another 5-pointer, and the score is now out to a 7-point lead in favour of Souths over Bond.
You see what a bit of direct rugby does. They're winning the collision now and winning it comfortably, and Bond is slipping off tackles, which is not too surprising. And it's nice to see Souths really using this the ball smartly and getting a bit of momentum. Look at this great carry there from Wangavulungi in contact, and these carries as well just strong from Manu. He's giving away a few kilos there, but
and it's that pass there. That is a ripper of a pass from Scotty Malalua to find the big number 8 as we see Jake Strawn add the extras. So the score now reads 22 points to 13 in favour of the Magpies over Bond University on their Ladies' Day.
Yeah, and Bond have got to be careful here. The game might be getting a bit away from them here. I'd like to see them go deep with this kickoff, try and get into the South 22. They haven't spent any time there, it feels like, this second half.
As Taumata goes short and down the middle of the pitch. And it's batted back by Caligai to Harley Fox, the try scorer. And Jake Strawn again opts to go to the toe. And that's a tall order as we see Wangavulungi steaming onto it, but caught well there from Harry Nusafora. And Cajo goes in for the pick and go, but he's smoked and hit hard there from Caligai. Slipper into contact. Bond just looking to work it out. And Gorda was absolutely pumped there from Ralphie Avalu, and the unders line. He got absolutely lit up on that far touchline. Great shot there from, Magpies outside centre. And Van Brecht is isolated here. But Paula Cajo does well to get there to retain possession.
You can see South really got their tail up here. Strong hits in contact, and what a turnover.
As we see there, Jake Strawn puts it on the toe. Wangavulungi comes steaming through. And it looks like he may have been able to regather it. Jake Strawn is able to get there, but it looks like Joey Fiddick has beaten him. Be interesting to see.
I suspect it will be a knock-on from... Oh, no.
No, it looks like it might be a knock-on from Wangavulungi, but you can see it here. Harley Fox getting that offload away, and Jake Strawn drops it on the toe. And it looks like Wangavulungi's got a hand on it. And it looks like Joey Fiddick got back anyway.
But it's great defensive work from South. The tails are up and they're recognising if they can put a bit of pressure on Bond, they're making mistakes. And I'd like to see Bond try and play down the right end of the field. I don't think they're kicking well enough anymore. They were getting a bit of pay out of these long kicks earlier in the game, and they need to get down the right end of the field. And in these sort of conditions, you're not going to carry the ball 80 metres, are you? Very rarely. So some more long kicks. Try and get into the South 22. Otherwise, this game could run away from them because Magpies have got their tails up.
They do. Now, Chips, I'm going to ask you, did you get a chance to watch the Reds game last night?
I did.
Good to see them coming away with a W, wasn't it?
It was a good win in that they won.
It was scrappy, but after their win last night, they face the Rebels in Melbourne next weekend before returning to Suncorp Stadium on Saturday, May 18, to face the Waratahs. So
that's
if
a
you're
big
keen to
game.
get out there, cheer them on. You can get your tickets and matchday info via redsrugby.com.au.
Well, you look at where the Reds are on the table after that win, and that Waratahs game is huge now in terms of who's going to finish up where in the conference.
Well, they've got the Canes today, do the Rebels, and then the Reds next weekend, so it could be all up in the air, but let's get back to the Queensland Premier Rugby footy that's going on right now, and Paul Akaho with a great run coming off his own try line. And Taumata opts to go for that torpedo once again, but unfortunately doesn't find touch, and just giving the Magpies too much of a good opportunity to attack out of their own half, and that's an ugly kick, but I think the Magpies will take it.
Exactly right. They're going to be okay with that. We saw last time that Manu put that kick in, they were able to put enough pressure on at the line out that I think Blythe dropped the ball up in the air. So more of the same. You just get the ball out and put pressure on at set piece. It's smart play.
And we see there, Max Dowd has been brought off the field. I can't see who they've made the sub for, but he was good, was Max Dowd, adding himself into that back line. And Kaho at the back of the line out to Nusafora, to Taumata. And Boardman just takes it into contact, as he does so often. And he's hit hard from Fox. And Kelleguy's on that, and that's a great turnover from the open side flanker. And the Magpies decide to go quick, but Strawn doesn't know what to do. So decides to back to the left, find Malalua, who finds Atunaisa, who's so strong and so powerful. And Atunaisa goes straight through and pirouettes through the defensive line. And he keeps marching, does the big winger. Malalua goes to the left. And you hear Peter Buchanan saying they've got the advantage there, do the Magpies, due to some lazy running. And again, very lucky to stay on the field. They were looking good there, the Magpies.
Yeah, I think if there's too many more penalties down this part of the field, referee might look to the pocket. And it looks like Namanu's signal for the shot, which I completely agree with. Points here may well put the game beyond reach, Joe.
Very smart play. They're only up by 9 points now. This could bring it out to a 12-point advantage. And look at this. Isn't that an absolute specimen to be coming off the bench? Big Sunia Finefiuiaki. He's lost the do. He's lost the hairdo that he had last year, but he still looks imposing, doesn't he?
Looks mean. I like it. Great guy to be bringing on at this point of the game. But if you're talking about specimens as well, I mean, we see Zaki Moimoi leave the field, and who do you bring on?
Paul Akaho.
Not a bad combination,
No.
is it?
Both him and Finefiuiaki are very much like for like in the way they play. Very hard, very grafting footy players.
And rugby's it's a 23-man game now.
It is.
You've got to have a good bench, and I think in QPR you've got to have some fresh players who can add real impact. The game is that fast now. There's very few players, particularly in the forwards, who are going to last the full 80.
And Strawn steps up and adds the extras. That's flags there from Jake Strawn. Pulls it out to a 25 to 13, advantage in favour of the Magpies over Bond University. It's now a 12-point game.
Yeah, very hard for Bond to come back here at this point, and still persisting with the short kickoff. It's going to pay off this time, but still in the wrong end of the field, really.
And they are, as you said, in the wrong end of the field, looking to get up over that halfway line. Papworth does well to do just that.
From the knock on.
And that's good quick ball there. Taumata having to take it into contact.
He got rid of the front rower there very easily. He'll be stoked with that post-match.
He's a very big 10, is Dion Taumata. And unfortunately there for Bond Uni, they've spilt the beans again in a good attacking opportunity with 9 minutes to go and only a 12-point game in it. They're going to have to take those chances.
Seven high tackle.
But no, they've said 7 high tackles, so that's against Brad Pelleguy.
Well, that's a real let-off for Bond there, because I guarantee that if South get the feed to that line out, they're putting the ball back into that left-hand corner down the southern end, and look what we've got here.
That's a cracking kick there from Dion Taumata to get him up inside the 5-metre line. So with just over 8 minutes to go, Bond have a great opportunity here. I think you're going to see the rolling maul through their big forward pack.
No surprises. I'd be taking it down, and if you can't get a try, at least get a penalty so you stay down the right end of the field.
And you can see Connor Pritchard there stepping into the halfback role. It's a direct play at the back of that maul, but they've decided to peel off quickly. Smart play there, and Van Brecht gets almost to the try line, but he just gets it back, and that's a great shot there, showing just how close the tall Tasmanian got.
That looked like a little knock on
and
there.
There's the little hit and spin, and Pulakaho spins off. Nick Turner, who in turn gets it off to Angus Blythe, who picks up the 5-pointer, and that pulls it into a 7-point game with a kick to come.
I think the referee missed a little knock on there. I think he was on the other side of it. It looks like here there might be a little knock on coming through, or have I... Just here with Slipper. Oh, yep.
Unfortunately, there we don't have the value of replay on the field.
You could see the referee was in a different position there, so understandably missed it. But will that come back to play a big part in this game?
And we can see here Harry Nusafora now stepping up to take the shot at goal. And he nails it, does the skipper. So we've now got a 5-point ball game with just over 6 minutes to go. It's starting to heat up.
And that high tackle ended up being really detrimental to what Souths are trying to do here. If they had retained the ball there from the line like they were going to, we're down the other end of the park. Instead, we've got a try under the post, 7 points, and an even game now. Big play in the context of the match.
How good's the chin strap rocking on there on Winchester? You got to love it. As Strawn gets us underway. And that's a great take there from Connor Pritchard. Last time it bounced off his melon. This time he takes it safely. And Taumata bounces out the back, and they're looking to sing it nice and early here. Bond, and that's well picked up. And this is good, smart footy here from Bond, getting it up towards the halfway line through Giles. And Van Brecht into the contact zone again, able to get through. Unable to find any support. Taumata again stepping in. And Papworth backing into contact. Want to make sure he gets that ball back. Bond getting good, quick front foot ball. And that's a great pass out to the wing of Adam Gorder, who's been quiet in this second half. And Winchester does well to break the first 2 tackles.
And they've got the advantage here, which is what they were really hoping for, help them get down to the right end of the park. They've got a free shot here.
And here we go. Dan Boardman adds himself into the line. And Giles again is hit hard, but he's able to keep that in. And Menzies does well. I thought that ball stayed in. But the assistant referee says it's gone into touch. I thought Menzies did well to keep that ball in play here.
Yeah, I think the ball's just gone into touch, and it's interesting.
The ball's in play there. It's literally just
hit
touched.
the line, I know. He would have only just called advantage over there for Bond. They'd be a bit disappointed that we're not going back, but looking at how far down the field that may have occurred, I think Buchanan's got it right.
And Bond have gotten the turnover in the line out. Great work there. I think it was just miscommunication there from the Magpies. And Bond have a great opportunity with 4 minutes to go in this Queensland Premier Rugby fixture at Chipseywood Oval. It's a good close match, but Giles is hit hard in midfield, and Ralphie Avalu is going streaming downfield as the big number 13. He pounced on the outside of his shoulder, and Atuna Issa is tracked down by Fiddick. And Strawn is able to get to the try line, is he? Oh, he's battled into touch, and that is great footy from both Bond and South. That is
What a-
end-to-end stuff.
What a tackle from Gorder at the end there, but good pressure there from Teller. And
What a pickup from Ralphie.
he was really blowing here, but this is a fantastic. Look at that. How good.
There's the Campese over the shoulder pass to Tim Horan.
We've seen some real momentum shifts in the last 10 odd minutes.
The last 20 or 30 odd minutes has gone back and forth. The team with the ascendancy seems to be the one that doesn't score the points. But that could have been the opportunity for Bond to get back and take the lead, or at least draw this game up. And now they're going to have to work all the way from their own try line. And they go through Boardman, who's isolated here, and Ralphie Ivalu and Jake Strawn have held him up. But he spilt the ball here, and Teddy Teller gets it out.
No.
To big Fina Fiuiaki.
Tackle, release, please.
That's,
But no clear release. His knees were on the ground.
it's another one that's very close, could potentially have gone either way, falling in Bond's favour there.
It's just this one here, you can see, was held up well, but knees were on the ground early and there was no clear release. But it is a 50-50 call, and it's gone in favour of the boys from the Gold Coast, as we see them now having to work up from outside their own 10-metre line.
We've got some real strike weapons in that Bond backline, so you know that if they can get some good ball, there's guys who can score long range. So just not sure if the conditions will allow it. They may have to be patient here. No.
And there's another relieving penalty, Big Tom Lane, with his hands on the ball there. This is the sort of stuff that is going to kill Elliot Takiri
Exactly.
prematurely, big time. Might find him in an early grave with more of that stuff. As Taumata hammers it long again. That's a good touch finder.
Great touch finder, but really unnecessary penalty as well. I mean, there was not too much to be gained there by contesting the breakdown like they did. And you coach killer, you're not wrong, J-Ball. This is a big line out.
And Bond just outside the attacking 22. Go quick to the front of the line out to Van Brecht. Taumata with the cutout to Dan Boardman, who's whacked low from Ralphie Ivalu. He's been good all day, has Ralphie.
I thought we were going to see a repeat of the plays not too long ago where Ralphie Ivalu scooped up the loose ball. I don't understand why Bond is swinging it so wide so quickly.
Well, they're obviously chancing their hand and feel they can get some space in those outside channels. And Giles in contact. And Bond again straight through the middle. And they're looking good, Bond, retaining possession well and playing on those fringes as Luke Papworth spins out of the tackle. And Van Brecht looking to go one out. And we're approaching the final play of the game as Pulakaho steps in and goes for the pick and go. And he's a bit high, but he's able to get that ball back. And Bond just chewing up the metres. Van Brecht. And Pritchard's gone himself. He's done well to get that back. And just two spent sides going toe-to-toe, hammer and tong, as we come into the 80th minute. Harry Nusafora just marshalling the troops, getting them to march inch by inch towards the try line.
This is great patience here from Bond. We haven't really seen too much of this from them, but
Pulakaho gets hit back into the mud, looking to get that back, but South have been able to make a nuisance of themselves. But the ball comes back for Nusafora. And Taumata just says to Boardman, run it straight, son, run it straight. And they've lost a couple of metres there.
But the main thing is they're holding on to the pill. They're giving themselves an opportunity here. This is great patience from Bond.
And they are just racking up the phases, are the boys from the GC.
Last feet, 5.
Maintaining possession well, and Caho really high there. Will want to make sure he gets that ball back. The Magpies saw an opportunity, but unfortunately unable to get that turnover. So Bond continue playing the short game, inch by inch. Phase by phase, they're getting closer and closer. But the Magpies' defence has been good.
This is really energy-sapping stuff here. Eventually, something may give.
And Danta, Boardman out to Menzies. Again, quiet in this second half. But if anyone can do it, it's Menzies getting in to that contact zone well. But got to be careful here, the Magpies. Malalua looked like he came in from the side. And Pritchard takes it into contact. Musafora digs it out.
Great run.
And Fiuiaki was close to getting the turnover there. And Van Brett just spilt the ball. And you can hear the Magpies crowd go up here on Ladies' Day. And that is a big win for the Magpies, getting up 25 points to 20 over Bond University in this round 6 Newstead Brewing Hospital Challenge Cup fixture. And Chips, what an absolute belter it turned out to be.
Hey, that last 10-15 minutes was great footy from both teams. Really willing stuff, and what a finish. I mean, geez, you just feel like if Bond had just stayed tight there. The past, what could have been, mate?
We lost for words there, Chips. We could talk about. Doesn't happen too often.
No, that's true, mate. But we could talk about it all day, what they could have done. But great D from South there, because it's not easy to defend your advantage line like that.
No, and they were putting the pressure on and really making Bond having to play their hand well and truly into double digits in that phase count. But they did really well. I mean, it was only 5 points to 3 at the half, and then we end up with the 25 points to 20 fixture. I mean, goes to show you've got two teams there that, when it comes to it, can really score points considering the wet conditions.
Absolutely, you look at them; they had a real crack towards the back end there, and but it did come down to the team that kicked better in the second half and played more rugby down the right end of the field. I mean, that was the difference for mine in the second half. Jake Strawn had some really good heads-up kicks in that second half.
And a lot of missed shots at goal as well really came back to bite both sides. But again, as you said, it was just the side that dictated play best, and both sides were doing it really well. Taumata's kicking game, though, just was a little bit off. Usually dictates play really well, but Jake Strawn and Jaden Armani just rested away with their kicking game, especially Armani. That's
a good point. He a couple of kicks there where he may have decided, typically he would have bounced out, had a crack himself, but recognised we need to put the ball down into their 22 and put pressure on.
Well, you can see it right there, folks. 25 points to 20, the Magpies over Bond University on their Ladies' Day. So I think they're going to be absolutely stoked, because if you ever want to come away with a W and have a good win, it's Ladies' Day, I'll tell you what. While I got you, Ricky B, we'll have a quick look at the matches all around
Please do.
Brisbane in the Queensland Premier Rugby competition. As we see there at the top right, the Tigers up 29 points to 14. No confirmation as yet as to whether or not it is full time, but they would be rounding out. You think the Tigers have come away with the win there at Skyfleet Stadium.
And again, similar to this game, look what happened in the second half. It was very tight low scores at half time, and particularly that University Sunnybank game. Uni have obviously got a little bit of a roll on in the second half to blow away Sunnybank.
Yeah, well, we saw it was the 7 points to 5 advantage to Uni at half time, but you can see there 40 points to 10. I really thought the Dragons were going to get up for that one. Uni missing a lot of their top line players. Coyotes obviously on the under-20s duties, but looks like they've done the dirty on the Dragons there.
And Uni maybe I can't wait to watch that one to just see how it is they blew out to such a good lead in the second half, because they had lost their way a bit in a couple of weeks, and we knew Jeeps were going to be tough to beat at home, and Norse unfortunately not able to put up a fight for the full 80. But the real disappointment for you and I is that top right-hand corner, West going down to East by the look of it. I thought that was going to be a closer contest.
I did as well, and actually thought the Doggies might get up, but I think the wet weather really plays in the advantage of the Tigers. I mean, you and I, both fellow front rowers, know Carter Rosane's probably been the form player of the entire competition in the opening 6 rounds. Hands down, he's the only one I think that's really dominated his position. But he's been fantastic.
It's easy for another front rower to say that, but
he's a big, beautiful man, is Carter Rosane. But look, he's been absolutely fantastic. His work rate around the field, but I think that might have been what did a number on West there today. So Again, let's have a look forward to round 7 of the Newstead Brewing Hospital Challenge Cup Chips, because we've got some really big matches coming up next weekend. We've got out at Hugh Courtney Oval, Norths versus East. I think East are going to be too deadly there for the Eagles.
I suspect so, but Norths are a very good team at home, and we saw when Uni went there the other week, they had a horrible time trying to combat
That's true.
The Eagles there. So
well, their field is in a bit of a disarray at the moment, unfortunately, as they do their upgrades. But the big one there, top right, Bond University versus West Down at Bond University. So Bond have actually got only the one win for the season, but have been a much better side than their results would say, whereas the Doggies are now 2 losses on the trot.
Exactly right. So 2 teams that really will want to bounce back and win. And West are still probably sitting around 3rd place, maybe 4th. East may have overtaken them on the ladder now, but Jeeps definitely have with their win over Norths. And West really need to win that game against Bond to get their season back on track. But by the same token, Bond need to win that game to stay in touch with the top teams. So.
Yeah, that's it, right? I mean, Bond, we saw last year, can go on a run, winning 8 from 9 at the end of last year. But the one at the bottom left-hand of the corner there, the oldest rivalry in Queensland Premier Rugby history, over 100 years, brothers versus the University of Queensland at Crosby Park. Brothers coming off the bye and Uni coming off a win. No matter where they are on the table, this is going to be an absolute belter.
Pencil that one in. That's going to be a cracking game.
The butchery will be going absolutely Burko down in that far right corner, but that's going to be an absolutely huge match.
But a couple of weeks ago, last week in particular, we would have looked at that game and go, geez, brothers are going to be pretty comfortable there. But for Uni to put 30-odd points on in the second half shows things might be clicking again for them. So that game's suddenly looking a lot more interesting.
Especially without their under-20s, which I don't know if they will be back next week at all.
I don't think so, but we could be wrong there. It'll be interesting to see when the teams are named, who lines up for who.
And Seb Wildman may be out of action again for Brothers if he gets a chance to impress for the Reds. Now on the bottom right there, this one as well should be a big fixture. Sunnybank up against Jeeps, 2 forward packs that like to go hammer and tong at each other. Sunnybank a bit weaker in the forward pack than they usually are, and Jeeps starting to find their clip.
I'd say that Sunnybank tight 5, there's a lot of promise there, but not a lot of experience, whereas Jeeps, that tight 5 is a well-oiled unit. So, look, I think it's going to be tough there for Jeeps to win that fixture, Sunnybank to win that fixture, but they are at home, so another good game to have a Guernsey at during the week.
Big time, and more than anything, I think if you get the opportunity, we should stick around and watch 6th grade. Make 6th grade great again, as we see Jeeps, 6th grade, travelling out here to Chipsy Wood Oval to take on the Magpies. That should be a belter, as we see some 6th grade heroes going hammer and tong. But Chips Blanche, thanks very much for joining us, mate.
No, pleasure as always, Joe Boy. Ended up being a much better game in that second half than it was in the first, so I'm glad it opened up a little bit like that.
Very much so, I've got to agree with you, but you can see it right there, folks. 25 points to 20. The South Magpies over Bond University on their ladies' day of all days. I'm Jay Bohr Staunton. Thanks for joining us at this Newstead Brewing Hospital Challenge Cup fixture, and we'll see you next week. Good night.